John Crowley.
Yes, where do I?
Right here.
Right there.
Okay, right.
Camera open on you.
First of all, thank you, Jeremy and Board, for letting me spend just a few minutes. In fact, I'll be very, very brief, because I think my purpose of my speech is to, or my presentation is to talk about the issue regarding Niagara water bottling and its effects in Cooper Lake and our water system here in Woodstock. And my concern would be to make a proposal, and again, to work with the board or to volunteer my services in any way I possibly can. What I was going to propose would be to create a system where we monitor and verify the pressure of the water feed going into Cooper Lake from the Mink-Hollow stream on a timely and accurate basis. And the second thing I wanted to bring up was we need to formulate a plan for future water use based on a variety of challenges, from local demand based on growth and expansion data, and external challenges such as climate change. We need to organize an ongoing dialogue with Kingston's Water Board in order to coordinate challenges such as Kingston's own growth plans and needs. And finally, the other thing that I would be grateful to simply propose and to have you consider would be to take all of the non-encumbered resources, water, land, whatever, and place it into a public trust. And I was talking to Rebecca Martin about this, and she knows of several experts in this area, along with some folks I think I know, that we could bring here to answer questions that the board may have at any particular time regarding this particular concept. And again, it's something for the board to simply consider. But again, what I'd like to do in closing is simply volunteer my services in any way that I possibly can to help you do this, because this is going to be an ongoing challenge. Before I sit down, I did come up with some documents that you may like to look over. One of them is the official document that I believe the Water Board has to file with the DEC every year on March 31st. It's the Water Withdrawal Reporting Form. May I present this?
Absolutely.
Here we go. And another document which I found very useful, it is a part of a petition for a lawsuit in Western New York State by a hydraulic engineer. And parts of it are basically a template to go through the process of actually testing the hydraulic pressure of the water to make sure that our part of the agreement is being held, or being held up in relation to the 1929 agreement that you read at the meeting last week.
Decision.
Right.
It's not an
Decision,
agreement, it's a
correct, decision, correct. So this is for your examination also, when you get a chance. And the other thing, just in the event, I have a series of press releases from the state of Florida regarding Niagara Water Bottling Company, and the last one that appeared in the Orlando Sentinel also creates a timetable, it's the second article, creates a timetable of all of the issues related to Niagara's involvement with Lake County and all the things that we've read about. So I wanted to also present that too for your review, and hopefully you find these things useful. I thank you. I appreciate you giving me the time.
And I would urge you to sit down with Jim and work out a time where you could give them the presentation.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, be glad to.
Thank you.
And then let us know, so if we want to attend, we can come to that presentation.
Right, absolutely. Sure. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Jim Hanson.
I'm here tonight as the head of the Cuomo Trails crew. As you know, last time I came to you as the head of the Trails crew, we presented a plan for this year's maintenance of the trails and improvements. Just south of us, there's an area of the trail that is threatening to go to Xena.
Your neighborhood.
The side is collapsing from, largely from subsurface erosion. All the experts we called in said you've got to move the trail away from there. So our big project was a new trail. We promised you that we would keep the promise we made after finishing the Dave Corbett Loop, that we weren't going to cost you anything. We had a successful fundraiser this spring. We put a little over $1,700 in a trust and agency account for the trails. We are just about to complete the relocation of the trail. We were able, through the use of local labor and some local things, to really keep the costs way down. We had to do a series of culverts because there's a wetland between here and there that runs off down the hill, and we had to make it so that the water flowed undisturbed. So we did what is referred to as burrito blanket culverts, where the culvert is actually covered by gravel, and then chips are put over it. So when you walk over it, you don't realize you're walking over a culvert, but the water flows under the trail. There was one very large runoff area that we had to bridge, which involved building a 10-foot oak bridge. There was an area where we had to go down the,
Is that red oak or white oak?
white oak. It holds up better. And we also had to build some stairs to go from the upper level down to the lower level. So on October 25th, Saturday morning, we've asked the supervisor to come and cut the ribbon. We're going to have a grand opening of the trail.
Nice.
The cost was somewhere, sit down, somewhere around $190, so we've still got $1,500 in the trail account. So I wanted to let you know that that's the progress for this year, and we hope you
Do you think with the
All
remaining
come out
rounds
in
you could
the-
resurface 212 like that?
if we name it a trail, we probably could.
What time is the ribbon cutting?
Saturday morning, 10 o'clock
10 o'clock.
on the 25th.
Thank you, Jim.
Yeah, and where exactly
Are you meeting?
would we find you?
We'll meet up here where the work crew meets every Sunday and Wednesday morning, right by the gate. And
Okay,
then we'll walk into where the ribbon is, and you'll get to see the trail.
You got the big Civic?
You don't have to worry. Yeah, real big. And you don't have to worry about wearing heavy hiking boots or anything like that. It's a very passable trail,
Thank you very
very
much.
easy walk, so.
Good work, Jim. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yes,
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock, yes. Kenneth Churchill?
Yes, tonight I just want to talk a little bit on the resolution. I have no papers to hand it. But we have hammered out this resolution to set aside 1 acre of land for homeless veterans, exclusively for homeless veterans. And I don't think it'll ever be in better shape than it is currently. And that concept came from Father John in this town. I didn't have that when I rolled into Woodstock. You know, I had a good plan, I had a national plan, I had a good plan, but I didn't have it. I always thought that if homeless land reservations did exist in each county, that vets would assimilate onto practice. But I didn't have in mind a plan directly and specifically for that. So now I must say that we've honed it down to the best condition that it can be in. And the best concerning the taxpayer, the state, the homeless, and the downtown business merchant, that in towns all across America have the rate of homelessness come down on them. Not just the homeless people, but the community. The rate of homelessness comes down on various communities all across this country. And this plan, if it was to be implemented here in Woodstock, would be a model for the rest of the country. So that if the good people of Woodstock said, we can afford 1 acre for 25 American veterans, and you set that example to everyone else, any municipality can come look and see, does it work or doesn't work? It's a social experiment to see if it does or if it doesn't. It should be shut down if it doesn't work, right? I agree. So it's for vets everywhere, not just the 7 or 8 or 20 or 25 that we have here in Woodstock, legitimate, but for veterans everywhere. Now, this postcard petition, I printed 1,500 of these, right? And at least 1,500 people, 1,400 people, let's say, said they would send them in. I don't know how many are on. You know, I don't know.
You've kept them.
Huh?
It's not 1,400, but we've kept everything.
Oh, thank you so much for keeping them, and they might still be coming in. But people that I meet in town hold my sign, they come from all over, they said they mail them in. Now, I've sent this petition to the VFW now, across the nation, and this petition to American Legions across the nation. So more postcards are coming in. You might need 1 acre just to house the postcards, we don't know. We don't know what's gonna happen in the end, but we're trying to help you. That's what we're trying to do. I'm going to wind it up with this a little bit. First, I'd just like to show you on the model, the center building, it says it would be on a cement pad. I don't need a cement pad. Father John wants a cement pad. This is a 2020 roof over posts in the ground. I put them in the ground, what is it? It's a place, if one of the tents blows down, it's a place to retreat to, okay? And it's a place to have self-help meetings. It's a place for the churches to come in and provide counseling to veterans. It's a place for veterans services to sit down and have a veterans services meeting. This is pennies to the taxpayer. I don't think there's a better plan or a cheaper plan in the country for the sake of the taxpayer and for the sake of the homeless. I don't think there is one. I think this model works. I think it will work because it will have, the piece must be kept, the procedural plans. This is an operational plan. Procedural plans are beginning to be laid out. That in a contract with each other, they must keep the peace, and in a contract with the town, they must keep the peace. These porta potties over here, I didn't really want them. Father John wanted them. He said, we'll find the money. We'll find it. Have faith, we'll find the money. These 5 places are no more expensive than what you see in a state park, but you can cook a meal on them. You can dry out your clothing. You can hang your clothing under a roof and you don't have to freeze to death when you get wet. In northern parts of our country. Nothing's cheaper. I don't think we should continue to let our people suffer and die. And we are, let them suffer and die. This is what I'll end with tonight. This is, I organized personally in Daytona Beach. I organized electronically across the nation, but personally in Daytona Beach. When I first rolled into town down there, okay, I met a veteran that was in the Marines for 13 years. And I got to like the guy, right? He was subject to arrest if he was found sleeping in the city of Daytona. He was subject to arrest, 2 months county time. Okay, a United States Marine for 13 years, subject to arrest if he's homeless in Daytona, 2 months county time. And I'm reading law, so I researched the city ordinance. We went to work on it, and this ordinance was declared unconstitutional. I set that in motion. After that, I sued the city for wrongful death because they had no shelter. I sued the state, the county of Volusia, and the city of Daytona Beach because they did not have a shelter, and in their entire history never did have a shelter. And the town of Woodstock, in its entire history, did not have a shelter. So I sued, and I forced the state of Florida to build the first shelter in the city of Daytona Beach. The same could happen here, very easily, for wrongful death of a homeless person. It can happen. So I'm saying to the town, vote on this, put it on the agenda, let the people decide, these people, let them decide if it's worth the experiment. Because if not, then you should have a shelter, and you don't. What's cheaper, a shelter or this? What's cheaper? What's better for your country? Another shelter with flea-bitten mattresses or this? Take a try. So I've asked Jay to put it on the agenda, and he's not here tonight. I wish that he was, he's not. I was going to ask another member if they would second the motion to put this resolution for United States veterans on the agenda. Ken, would you second the motion to put this resolution on the agenda in the Congress?
This isn't a question.
You know what, no polling.
Huh?
No polling.
No problem?
No polling.
Okay, I was just going to ask if you
No,
would second.
no polling.
Well, I'm trying to
Listen,
find out
I'll
how to
tell
get
you,
it on the agenda.
you put a lot of time and energy into this.
Yeah, 25 minutes.
There's many aspects to this that I think have to be explored. And if you want to call my office and speak with Carrie and set up a time, and come speak with me. Because this is not as simple as you think it may be.
Oh,
And I'd just like to go over it with you, that's all.
okay, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Take care.
Joe Elmo.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I don't usually carry signs, but I'm here to support, hi, I'm here to support Father John and Ken. Because there's no reason any American veteran should be in Woodstock without a shelter. That's just me, I call me superstitious, but I think it's ridiculous. I've been at this a year. I can't understand why it's a simple, we can't come here. Well, I've heard, Jeremy, is it? Jeremy says he's gonna have a meeting, that's very nice. I think Woodstock should be ashamed of themselves if they don't pass this resolution. Thank you very much.
You do.
Michael Paycott.
Hi, my name is Michael Paycott. I'm a Woodstock, New York news artist and a newsman in Woodstock, investigative news. I want to thank the town board for allowing me to speak tonight. Once again, my name is Michael Freeman Paycott. Tonight being October 14, 2014. It appears that the recent criminal town police bust of a Tinker Street drug dealer is just the tip of the drug trafficking iceberg in this part of Ulster County. I say this as an investigative newsman with my eyes and ears open since 1996 in this town. A few days ago, suspect members of a Rock City Road agency tried to cover over on their complicity of allowing a 5'6" gang, white male associate drug dealer, to slander the good and notable character of a U.S. Marine who paid his dues to God and country. The director of family agency was called in on the carpet this morning and was asked why she allows such abuse of U.S. honorable vets who occasion family of Woodstock. Her response to me was notably a cover-up of what appears to be a 1986 investigated Iran-Contra North gang activity of drugs and violence in our beautiful artist community. I know that this town board has done all it can so far to remedy the ongoing violence related to abusive drug dealers, but beware of people in high powers positions who cover over. Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to give you. There you go, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Handouts for everyone. What I'm giving you is new information that I got through a foil about the library. And I'll give you two more.
Okay, make sure Jake gets one.
Yeah, okay. And, and then I have a brief statement about it. Maybe, if they're still running, maybe I don't know. Oh, yeah. Woodstock Town Board, my name's John Ludwig. There's been some talk lately among the Sanders Annex supporters about what was said here at the Town Board on July 9th, 2013, when representatives of the Woodstock Library came to you to formalize a memorandum of understanding and be granted an exemption from town code for their annex project. I've come here this evening to give new information on what was not said to you at that meeting. On May 30th and June 3rd, 2013, 1 month before the MOU, the Library Board of Trustees had meetings at which, quote, the Library Board agreed to pursue the design for Scheme A, according to the minutes attached. I recently submitted a Freedom of Information Law request to see the documents from those meetings, and I received copies last Friday. And these large copies I got just today. These are from the library, May 30th, 2013, a month before the MOU. What the library trustees saw those 2 nights was a 55-page presentation from Joel Sanders Architect detailing a 2-story structure with over 2,800 square feet of interior space. The board considered the 2 schemes, A and B, and decided on Scheme A, the smaller of the 2. They received invoices from Joel Sanders totaling $24,000 during that April and May, and they directed him to continue to work on Scheme A. The last page of the presentation, the schedule, shows they were then completing schematic design. And this is the schedule, and this red line indicates the current date, which was May 30th. And the let's see, lost my place. The last page shows that they were then completing the schematic design phase of the project. You'll see in the schedule that at the July 9th MOU meeting with you, they were just a week away from completing the design development phase of the project and were nearing the checkpoint called pricing set. In an email 2 weeks ago, Stuart Auchincloss wrote, quote, certainly the entire annex project has been conducted with much more publicity than the minimum required by law for a municipal body. The library has distributed press releases at every important decision point and a few in between. Because of that statement by the board president, I requested by FOIL, quote, "press releases or other publicity announcing the decision by the board to pursue Scheme A." The response I got from the library director was, quote, "there are no press releases after May 2013 or June 2013 meetings." I was not at the July 9, 2013 MOU meeting, but I'm told there were no drawings presented. The documents I'm presenting here tonight were apparently left back at the office when they came to you that night. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You could have taken them black and white.
Doesn't have the same effect.
Does it?
Is that it?
So thank you for the information.
I'd like to offer the following resolution. Whereas Hudson Valley Edible LLC, Shindig, 1 Tinker Street, Woodstock, New York, 12498, is in compliance with the Alcoholic Beverage Control Law, Section 64, Subdivision 2A, has notified this municipality of their intent to file application for a liquor license with the New York State Liquor Authority, and whereas this property is currently in compliance with all local laws and does not have any violations of this kind, therefore be resolved to waive in this instance the 30-day period to review said application and consent to issuing the liquor license to the above-named applicant.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
This is the old corner cupboard, everybody, in case you're interested. Be it resolved to waive building permit fees for the renovation, expansion of the Masco Hornbeck Community Center.
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Be resolved to authorize the supervisor to sign an agreement with Marshall and Sterling Insurance. And this is an agreement, of course, our carrier is the New York State Reciprocal Insurance.
Municipal insurance.
Insurance reciprocal, that's it. And this is just the interface between us and them. It does not affect our fees, there's no charge for this. They basically will be in charge of our risk management and just to keep our nice rating with the insurance company. All in favor?
Aye.
Be it resolved to appoint Officer Christopher Benson, temporary full-time police officer, at the rate of $21.83 per hour, appointment to expire December 4, 2014. And again, this is the officer who is temporarily filling in for Officer Dominion, who is out on maternity. All in favor?
Aye.
So that's all our business. Did anybody have any more thoughts about this morning's meeting, budget hearings? Anything you want to add, addendum?
No, they were not.
Building department, assessor. What else? Maintenance,
Yeah, maintenance, of course, yeah,
tomorrow.
yeah. We'll try to get those all hooked in tomorrow, I think, is tomorrow?
Oh, you're seeing also, summer rec.
Summer rec. I'm trying to remember when the justices are coming. I know it's 10 a.m., but I can't
Is
remember
it
if it's
Friday?
tomorrow or
Oh,
Friday.
I don't know.
Maybe it's Friday.
Might be
Well,
Friday.
maybe, whatever. Looking forward to that, of course.
That's when you really ask for the.
You know, as long as the subject came up in sort of a, well, I was going to say tangential, but really it was a more direct. But I would just like to feel the board out on something, and that is being this Niagara bottling. To me, our major concern is the water and protecting the provisions that were laid down in the decision of 1929, which said how much water Kingston could take, how much flow had to remain in those two streams that they were taking it from. It made it very clear that their rights to the watershed would not be superior to the inhabitants of the watershed. We have rights to draw water above or below the intakes of the Sawkill and the main hollow. And we also have right, at a negotiated price, to tap into their main, where it runs through the town of Woodstock. Those are the most salient points of that agreement, which I think are as valid now as they were then. And it's my interest, and I think the interest of most of our inhabitants, to make sure that all that is protected. I am sure that the DEC, as they did with us a couple of years ago, when we wanted to hook up 51 additional residential units, they forced us into a protocol with our water district to make sure it was capable of handling those 51 additional hookups, and I expect no less protocol to be applied in this instance. Now, I know that there's a lot of people in this community who are just simply opposed to the idea of a bottling company, a plastic bottling company. And you know what? I'm not saying that I'm unsympathetic to that, but I think we should be very, very careful and not mix our messages. I think we want to be very, very clear and direct in our message to the DEC that our main concern is the water. What the town of Ulster wants to do with their water, how Kingston wants to give away their water, that's entirely their business. Our business is the watershed and protecting our rights to the water and making sure that there's a continued flow that is in that 1929 decision. So that's it. I just wanted to offer that comment.
I would agree, and, you know, I have personal feelings about the whole bottling plan, but I think if we do start to mix the message, the important one for the town could get lost, so
Well, it gets muddy.
yeah,
Oh, they're just doing this because they don't want to bottle
they
it.
protest everything. So I think as a board, it would be important to keep that single message.
I think, you know, some of the conversation was that in that decision, there's restrictions on flows and maintaining flows in the Sawkill. And as I understand it, none of that's really measured or we have no idea if we're maintaining the flows or what might go
I
down.
mean, this is something that has to be looked at.
And I think, you know, probably our position ought to be is that we ought to understand that and as part of the agreement, make sure those measurements are put in.
I have been told that with regard to the beaver kill, the little beaver kill there, the intake device that they have actually controls the flow. And it's at a certain level where it has to permit at least, what is it,
500,000
gallons a day.
Well, it's split there, some of it goes to the Ashokan and some of it goes to Cooper Lake, right?
Well, the main hollow all goes into Cooper Lake, but it's diverted from Cooper Lake. It otherwise sheds into the Esopus out there by Mount Tremper. The Sawkill meets the Esopus as well, but in the town of Saugus.
But where that's diverted, that device
Yeah.
is what controls the flow.
I don't pretend to understand any of that.
No, I don't either, I'm only going by what
That's
I'm
not been
told.
one of my areas of research in the last year, but that's something that we should understand and
Yeah.
make sure that we have the right protocols in place as part of this process.
You know, as you said, I have strong personal feelings against a bottling company, against using our water. I think water is going to be our newest commodity that's going to be fought over in the future, and so I'm really reluctant to give it away. I also have a concept that, you know, if we are entitled to 500,000 gallons or whatever we're entitled to, and we're not using it, so basically, that's all we're getting is 500,000 gallons, and they want to take out 1.75 million a day. And so the whole thing of, oh yes, you are entitled to 500,000 gallons of water a day, but we're not using that water right now. And then when we really need it, it might not be there. So I have concerns about that, but as far as being on the board, I want to make sure we follow the proper procedure, look into as you say, the flows and the legalities of it. I'm not opposed to hiring, I'm usually opposed to hiring attorneys, but I'm not opposed to hiring an attorney who's an expert in this field to maybe look into this a little bit more for us, because as Ken said, I say the same thing. I'm not saying I know all the details of how this actually works, but I definitely want to make sure that we don't miss the boat in any shape or form, and that we make sure we stay on top of it. So that's important to me, to stay on top of the process and not just finding out too late that we could have done something. So those are my concerns right now. I know they're saying the piping is sufficient to get out a certain amount of gallons. I don't want to find out a year from now or 2 years from now that we need more piping and we have to dig up our streets. That's another concern of mine. So there, you know, I have a lot of concerns. I want to do this properly. I want to do it with legal counsel if need be. I know you said we may not need legal counsel right now, but I want to really put it out there that if we do, I'm not, you know, normally I don't like spending money on legal counsel, but I think this is important. So that's kind of where I am. And I'm also concerned that some of the water in Cooper Lake may be feeding our aquifers in some way that I don't understand.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, so now if we start pulling water out of there,
Right.
what happens to our aquifers? Now our aquifers are not producing the water we need, and so now we now have to pay Kingston for water that we were getting. So that's another issue.
Right.
So, those are my concerns. I'm sure they're a lot of people's concerns.
Jeremy, where are we in the process of this? What's this, how's this working?
Well, the town of Ulster declared their intent to be lead agent.
Right.
It's my
That's the last I've
understanding
heard.
that the Kingston, whatever their version of the WEC is, had a meeting the other day about it, and I haven't heard otherwise. Maybe Nick, you know, do you know if they consented, did they consent?
Could I just mention one thing? I haven't heard anything in that ilk yet, but I know that the 30 days window for SEQR, it expires this Saturday.
Mhm.
And again, we haven't heard back from the DEC yet, so we don't know what function they're performing in this whole thing as of right now.
You know, as long as we're talking about it, just the heck of it, in case it becomes relevant. I did send a letter to the DEC requesting that they be lead agent on this project.
Right.
I pointed out to them that the lead agent right now would be the community from where the water is not drawn, and affecting a community potentially for whom the water was intended, and that there are potential regional implications to all this. So now I just sent that out on my own, that the board wants to adopt a resolution in support of that letter,
Yeah.
entertain such a motion.
I'll make
Yeah.
a motion to support that letter.
I
All in
second it.
favor?
Aye.
So-
Okay,
so
So I'll
we-
follow up with a town board resolution. The town board is, that the town board asks the DEC to be the agent.
As a town.
Project.
So let me ask,
And we gotta get that in before Saturday because of the 30
Okay,
days.
tomorrow.
Okay.
I'll fax it.
Email it.
I'll walk in tomorrow morning, you'll have that certified resolution.
so let me ask Jeremy, because I know at one point you also suggested maybe to Kingston Common Council that they have a second seeker for the sale of the water.
Right.
But would that be segmentation?
Well, I don't know. I mean, to
I
me, it's
mean, I don't
really-
know either, I'm
No,
asking.
I don't know. It would seem to me, and perhaps Kingston just being an involved agency is enough for them. Really, the point that I made to the Kingston City Council was that the residents of the town of Woodstock are just as concerned about this whole thing as should be the residents of the city of Kingston. Because after all, that's 1.75 million gallons of water that they otherwise would be entitled to going off to another
Right.
municipality. Now, is that gonna fire them up? I don't know. You know, I won't pretend to understand the interests of other municipalities.
I'm trying to think back when we fill out the secret papers, what type of complaints or issues can we write down that makes it, that will postpone the process, is what I'm trying to say. You know, when we fill out our secret forms, we have to wait the 30 days, and if no one complains.
Well, we don't have to wait 30 days. People have 30 days
Right.
to challenge a secret determination.
Right.
Right, so this.
And actually, I think the period is a little longer than that in some instances. But there's a period of time, once someone makes a determination, no matter what the determination, whether they, you know,
So that hasn't been
find
made
it has
yet.
positive or negative.
Jeremy?
impact.
In the document that I provided you with the expert testimony, apparently, I mean, he's claiming, and I'm only going based on what I'm reading there, but what he's claiming is that it is required for substantive tests to be conducted, hydraulic pressure tests,
Mhm,
over at least a 72-hour period.
mhm.
And the actual data has to be recorded and reviewed by the DEC and comments made.
Listen, sometime I'll sit you down with our water superintendent, and he can tell you blow by blow, the
Right.
protocol that we were subjected to. It cost quite a bit of money
I'll bet, yeah,
to expand our water
Sure.
system.
yeah.
So,
We had.
I
Yeah, we had.
would.
And that was for
expect
13,000 gallons a day.
Yeah, we had to go through those tests for, REPCA.
Yeah,
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 right,
yeah.
you were telling me, and I'm sure they made you go through hoops.
oh, yes.
So, some of those tests were for the GUID, the groundwater, so there's a little bit of overlap there.
Yeah, I have some secret questions. So who filled out the secret, town of Ulster, because they
The
waited?
applicant.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, the applicant, okay.
Right.
So the applicant filled out the secret, and tell me again the 30-day window for who to do what regarding this?
Well, when they take to part one, then the town, the Ulster Town Board, they announced their intention to be lead agent. And they listed involved and interested
Which
parties.
you guys do from time to time on certain cases.
Well, correct, we do.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah. Sorry.
people have 30 days to challenge the lead agency. That is to say, that if somebody felt, for instance, if Kingston wanted to, and I suggested they should or shouldn't, but for instance, say the Kingston Council wanted to be lead agent on this, they could challenge the lead agency. If it turns into a fist fight, it's settled by the DEC. They will determine who is the lead agent.
And the DEC, what was it, the Williams Lake project? I mean, they
I
declared,
think that they, yes,
they declared, the
became-
DEC declared themselves.
So we're at the 30-day window to challenge the lead agency designation.
Correct.
Right.
This Saturday.
Okay, and which the town board agreed that we're the town that.
No.
We're not the
DEC.
town, so we don't have any standing.
No, but I thought
But
that
we
changed.
we suggested that
The
the DEC
DEC
Yeah.
be lead agent.
be.
Well, I don't know why, I mean, so I'm not understanding why you wouldn't have standing, because they're talking about pulling water, just what you said, is affecting our aquifer.
No,
So why,
no,
why
not
would
in
we?
that document, no. They have an allotment, something like up to 8 million gallons a day that they can draw from that system. They're not approaching an allotment. Even when they sell this 1.75 off to Kingston, they're not approaching an allotment.
The 8 million, okay.
Is it 8 million or 6 million?
Something, it's whatever it is, but it's not increasing an allotment.
Okay,
So no. not-
So technically, Kingston is entitled to that amount of water.
okay,
We're an interested party,
right,
and we
okay,
told them so.
okay.
But certainly not in our agency.
We got together a group too, we've had a lot of people, I don't have specific numbers, but I know it's north of 100 people that phoned the DEC and asked exactly what you did in the letter.
Oh, good.
We contacted Mark Graham by phone, and
Sorry.
somebody actually answered the phone and took our name, and
Really?
wrote it down.
I saw that on Facebook, there's
Yeah.
a big push.
Yeah, we don't have, as of tonight, we should have a better idea what our numbers are, but
Mhm.
the Move On petition, I know, has close to 2,000 signatories now.
But a lot of those are kind of from all over.
Yeah, I noticed some are from Brooklyn and other places.
Hawaii, Alaska.
Did you really see people having?
This is the Woodstock Nation.
Some people will sign anyway, right?
I played Woodstock.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all run down to the library and shake our fists, Jay, welcome home.
Are they still going?
They're all going to 8 o'clock at least.
Oh, through 8 o'clock, they will? Yeah.
Move to adjourn? All in favor? Pleasure made.
Hi, Jay.